It is 9:01 a.m. on June 26, 1974, in a Marsh supermarket on North Main Street in Troy, Ohio. A cashier named Sharon Buchanan is standing at register number 1, and in her hand is a 10-pack of Wrigley's Juicy Fruit Chewing Gum. Cameras are rolling. Executives from a company most shoppers have never heard of are watching. She passes the gum over a strange glass-topped scanner, and a red laser flickers beneath it. A beep. A price appears on the register tape, 67 cents. It is such a small, unremarkable transaction that almost nobody in that store understands what they just witnessed. That single pack of gum, now sitting in the Smithsonian, by the way, because someone had the sense to save it, was the first retail product in history to be scanned by a barcode. But the story does not start here. It starts 26 years earlier and about 700 miles away on a beach in Miami Beach, Florida. The year is 1948. A Philadelphia food chain executive walks into the office of the Drexel Institute of Technology and asks the dean a simple, almost desperate question. Is there a way to automatically read product information at checkout? The dean turns the request down, but a 27-year-old graduate student named Norman Joseph Woodland overhears about the problem, and it will not leave him alone. Woodland drops out of his PhD program to work on it full-time. He moves in with his grandfather in Florida to save money while he thinks. And one afternoon, sitting on that Miami beach, he starts dragging his fingers through the sand. He is thinking about Morse code, dots and dashes, thick lines and thin lines. And as his fingers trail 4 lines into the sand, he realizes he could stretch Morse code's dots and dashes downward into wide and narrow lines. Lines that a machine could read. That afternoon in the sand, according to Woodland's own later accounts, was the moment the barcode was actually born. Woodland and his partner, Bernard Silver, filed a patent for what they called classifying apparatus and method in October 1949. It was granted in 1952. Their original design was not the straight-line barcode we know today. It was a bullseye, a set of concentric circles like a target, because Woodland reasoned that circular lines could be scanned from any direction. Think about that for a second. The shape everyone associates with modern retail almost became a target pattern instead of parallel bars, all because a man drew 4 lines in Florida sand. Here is the first pivot point, and it is one of those decisions that seemed small at the time. It was not. The technology to actually read Woodland and Silver's bullseye code did not exist yet in any practical, affordable form. The scanner they eventually built used a 500-watt incandescent bulb, so hot it risked igniting the paper labels it was reading. It required a photomultiplier tube borrowed straight out of movie sound technology. It was the size of a desk. Woodland sold the patent to Philco in 1952 for $15,000. No royalties, just a flat fee, and by most accounts never made significant money from what would become one of the most consequential inventions of the 20th century. He later took a job at IBM. That decision, taking that job, would matter more than he could have known. Now the story jumps forward era by era, because for nearly 2 decades, the barcode goes almost nowhere. Through the 1950s and into the 1960s, American retail is drowning in a very unglamorous but very real problem: labor costs. Grocery store clerks are manually keying in prices, item by item, all day, every day, and errors are constant and lines are long, and inventory tracking is basically guesswork done with clipboards. In 1966, the National Association of Food Chains holds a symposium in Cincinnati specifically to address the checkout crisis. RCA, the electronics giant, fresh off its dominance in television, hears about it and start developing its own scanning system, based loosely on Woodland's old bullseye concept, which by then had fallen into the public domain in a roundabout way through corporate licensing. By 1970, the grocery industry forms a committee, the U.S. Supermarket Ad Hoc Committee on a Uniform Grocery Product Code, specifically to solve one enormously boring but enormously important question: what should the standard code even look like? Companies were invited to submit proposals. RCA submitted its bullseye, and working quietly inside IBM, on a team led by an engineer named George Laura, was Norman Joseph Woodland himself, the same man from the Miami Beach sand, now decades older. Weighing in here is turning point number 2, and this one really did reshape the entire future of shopping. Laura's team looked hard at RCA's circular bullseye and found a fatal flaw when a bullseye label got smeared with ink during high-speed printing, which happened constantly on real factory printing presses. The circles blurred into unreadable blobs. A rectangular code, made of straight vertical bars, printed the same direction the ink rollers moved, did not have that problem nearly as badly. So Laura's team scrapped the circle Woodland himself had invented and pushed forward the rectangular black and white bar pattern instead. On April 3, 1973, the committee formally selected IBM's linear barcode design as the Universal Product Code, the UPC. Woodland's own company had just outcompeted Woodland's own original idea, and the shape of the code changed forever because ink smudges on a printing press mattered more than elegance. That is not a metaphor. That is literally what the rollout that followed was slow, expensive, and met with genuine public suspicion. Retailers had to invest in laser scanners that in 1974 dollars cost thousands of dollars per checkout lane, a massive gamble for grocery chains running on razor-thin margins. Consumer groups in several states pushed back hard, arguing that if item prices were not individually marked on every can and box, stores could quietly raise prices without anyone noticing. Some U.S. states actually passed laws requiring item-level price stickers to stay on shelf for years after barcodes arrived, specifically because shoppers did not trust the machines. And that, quietly, is the human cost section of this story. Not war, not disease, but something more mundane and in some ways more telling. The loss of price transparency and the slow erosion of the cashier's role as a trusted, skilled human intermediary between a product and its price. Studies from the early scanning era did, in fact, find that some retailers used the transition to nudge prices upward on unmarked items, exploiting exactly the confusion consumers had warned about. It took federal and state consumer protection pressure through the late 1970s to force chains toward better disclosure. Grocery clerks, for their part, saw their jobs reshaped almost overnight. They killed, sped up, made interchangeable decades before anyone was using the word automation the way we. By the early 1980s, adoption still crawled. Fewer than 1 in 3 U.S. grocery stores had scanners installed, even by 1980. The tipping point came from an unlikely direction: Kmart. In the mid-1980s, big discount retailers adopted barcode scanning at massive scale, and once Walmart followed and pushed the technology hard through its own supply chain in the late 1980s and early 1990s, the barcode stopped being a checkout convenience and became something far bigger: an inventory command system. Walmart's relentless investment in barcode-driven logistics through the 1980s and 90s is, by most retail historians' accounts, one of the underappreciated engines behind its rise to become the largest retailer on Earth. The tiny black and white stripes were no longer just telling a cash register a price. They were telling an entire company, in real time, exactly what was selling, where, and how fast, birthing what we now call just-in-time inventory management. Let's sit with the scale of this thing today, because it is genuinely staggering. Barcodes, in their original UPC form and its many descendants, are scanned an estimated 6 billion times a day worldwide. 6 billion. That is not a typo, and it bears repeating. 6 billion times every single day, a laser or a camera reads a pattern of lines that traces its origin back to one man's fingers in wet sand on a Florida beach in 1948. GS1, the global nonprofit that now administers barcode standards, oversees identification numbers used across more than 2 million companies in over 150 countries. The system Woodland and Silver patented for $15,000 underpins a retail, shipping, and logistics economy now worth many trillions of dollars annually. Woodland himself, before he passed away in 2012 at the age of 91, did eventually receive real recognition: the National Medal of Technology, awarded by President George H.W. Bush in 1992, but the $15,000 patent sale from 1952 remained, for the rest of his life, one of history's great financial what-ifs. And here's turning point number 3, quieter than the others, but arguably just as consequential. The decision, made through the 1970s standards committees, to make the code machine readable but essentially invisible in meaning to humans. Just numbers, no names, no branding, nothing pretty. That decision seemed small at the time. It was not, because it meant barcodes could be silently layered onto absolutely anything. Not just soup cans, but library books by the 1970s, hospital patient wristbands by the 1980s, airline boarding passes by the 1990s, driver's licenses, FedEx packages, blood donation bags, evidence tags in police departments, national ID systems in countries like India's Aadhaar-linked logistics networks. A code designed to speed up a grocery line quietly became the invisible skeleton of global supply chains, healthcare safety systems, and personal identification, all riding on the same basic idea. Wide lines, narrow lines, black, white, dash. Now, for the twist nobody sees coming. The barcode's descendants have already left Earth. Two-dimensional codes, the barcode's more data-dense grandchildren, QR codes among them, are used in tracking equipment aboard the International Space Station, where NASA needs to inventory thousands of parts in a zero-gravity environment where a misplaced bolt can become a serious hazard. Barcode and RFID tag components are standard in modern satellite manufacturing supply chains, where a single missing or mislabeled part, sourced from a subcontractor thousands of miles away, can delay a multi-hundred-million-dollar launch. Some proposed lunar and Mars mission logistics frameworks, the supply chain plans for how humanity would stock and track a permanent off-world base, explicitly build on barcode and RFID hybrid identification systems. The same fundamental logic Woodland sketched in the sand, just prepared now for a world without grocery aisles at all. The tiny stripes built for the checkout line at a Philadelphia supermarket may end up organizing humanity's supply closet on the moon. Think about that lineage for a second. Sand, then soup cans, then satellites. The scale of it is almost absurd. And no, that is not something anyone made up. Somewhere in there, a chewing gum barcode became a global retail standard. A global retail standard became a hospital patient safety protocol. A hospital patient safety protocol became a package tracking backbone for $1 trillion shipping industry. A package tracking backbone became a data language read by machines from Ohio grocery stores to the International Space Station. And a $15,000 patent sale became, quietly, one of the most valuable, unrewarded ideas of the 20th century. In the end, the whole thing amounts to a strange kind of irony. Humanity spent thousands of years developing coins, then paper money, then credit, then entire economic theories to manage the exchange of goods. And one of the most transformative retail technologies in history turned out to be a guy on a beach, dragging his fingers through sand, thinking about Morse code. If you enjoyed this, hit subscribe and drop a comment telling us which part of the barcode's history surprised you the most. And make sure to like this video so more people can find it.